we are live. So, welcome to episode 295 of An American Werewolf. I am Michael Martin, and my God, it's full of something, all right. In the house tonight, we've got BIL 3000.5. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
All right, man. And then we got Tony D, the local Piney and author of The Pineys. Good to see you again, man.
Hello.
And, of course, we've got John K. Alvarez, Truth Be Told. So it's good to see you. And it's nice not to be frozen to death. We could have been doing The Shining with all of our faces looking like Nicholson at the end of that movie, if this shit had kept up. But it looks like
mine does with the beard.
Yeah, So here we are in February. My apologies. Last week we were supposed to do Wes Anderson's French Dispatch, but there was just too much going on between work and life, so I kicked the can on it. Wes Anderson is a director where we can certainly come back and cover 4 more movies down the road that we didn't even bother to touch on. But, however, we are in February, and that means we're going to be talking about Stanley Kubrick, and I'm very excited to talk about Kubrick and his films. And the first one I thought we'd start out with is 2001, A Space Odyssey. So if you're ready to go, shall we get it going?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Wookie wookie. So I want to pull this off of Grok. I asked to give me a 2-sentence summary of 2001: A Space Odyssey because it's very easy to say, what the fuck is this movie about? And it says 2001: A Space Odyssey follows humanity's encounter with mysterious black monoliths that appear at key moments in evolution, first among prehistoric apes, then on the moon, and finally beyond Jupiter, prompting an epic journey of discovery. The film culminates in an increasingly abstract and philosophical exploration of artificial intelligence, human evolution, and the nature of existence as astronaut David Bowman confronts the sentient supercomputer HAL 9000 and undergoes transformative cosmic experience. So 2001, directed by Kubrick and co-written with Arthur C. Clarke. I've never read the books. It's based on several short stories, apparently. Is legendary for groundbreaking visuals, philosophical depth, and meticulous production. Behind the scenes, it was an epic, grueling endeavor that pushed filmmaking boundaries. No CGI existed, so everything relied on practical effects.
Yep.
Real quick, Kubrick approached Clarke in 1964 to create the proverbial good science fiction movie. They developed the screenplay and novel simultaneously, starting with Clarke's short story, The Sentinel. Kubrick showed showed Clarke daily footage, and Clarke wrote the novel based on it. Early titles considered including Across the Sea of Stars and Tunnel to the Stars. Kubrick even tried unsuccessfully to ensure the plot against real-life alien discovery via Lloyd's of London, fearing NASA's Mariner 4 Mars flyby might reveal life and spoil the story. Now, I every once in a while you can find these little mega packs, and these are all Kubrick films. So I got 2001, I got Clockwork, I got The Shining. This is currently streaming on HBO. Let me start out with saying that. Let's go with BIL 3000.5. He hasn't been unplugged. What are your initial thoughts of this film?
I will say that I'm entirely glad and thankful that I was able to see this movie way back in the day. I probably saw it in 1981 or 82, staying up all night when I shouldn't have been, and watched it with my 12-year-old brain. I was completely blown away by it. And I'd been reading about it for at least 5 years before that. It's like the movie that you spoke about in hushed tones in the horror and science fiction, realm. And ever since I had encountered Star Wars, that was the movie that I needed to see and wanted to see. And I never could get to see it because I was so young, you can't always stay up late and watch it. And this is before the VHS, explosion. But I was fortunate enough to see it, stay up late, watch the whole thing. And it was a mind-altering experience. And going back and watching it now, it was like watching the opening of the first Star Trek movie. It was like, come on, get on with it. Jesus Christ. 3.5 minutes of nothing on the screen but weird noise. Come on, let's go. Let's freaking go. So it didn't age well for me. But I think a younger person who's not numbed by all the CGI that's available now in all the CGI movies, if you sit them down in front of it, they're going to have an experience. It's still a really, really amazing movie. It's the movie that got me to watch, to listen to classical music when I was 12 years old. I remember listening to that tape over and over and over again. It's just an incredible piece of work, and trying to figure out what it's about. You have to watch the whole thing and just overthink it for a while, and then it becomes really clear. It's a real simple, trajectory.
Tony D, what do you got?
I have sort of a weird, similar journey. So I saw 2001 on television when, at that time they would put commercials on when I was young.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it. And what happened was there was a commercial break sometime between the moment like Hal is trying to kill Dave or Dave kills Hal, I forget. And I left the room to go to the bathroom or something. And I came back and Dave is standing there in his space suit with the bedroom and the old man. And I'm like, what the hell happened? And I'm trying to figure it out. And then I was like, oh, okay. They must have cut out part of the movie because there were boobs in it or cursing. And that's why it doesn't make any sense. I must have missed the key scene that explains all this. So I was like, oh, that's a shame because I hear this was really good. So, then cut to years later, I'm in college, and everybody goes, hey, you want to go see 2001? They were playing it on a screen. And I said, oh, yeah, I never really saw that. I saw most of it, and then
I had to pee.
And I didn't know what happened.
You got to go to the bathroom again.
Right. So then I went to the movie,
Too much soda.
and everybody was like, oh, man, we should be high for this. Yeah, we should be high. And I'm like, I don't know why you'd want to be high during the movie. Then I'd miss it again. So then I'm sitting there and I'm watching the movie, and then the cut happens, and I'm like, oh, this is what happened. I did see the movie. I was just very confused. And then I watched the rest of the movie, and I'm like, what happened?
2 years
like,
later, no resolution.
Right. Yeah. And then my friends are like, well, you're supposed to, they were a bunch of college stoners. They didn't know. They didn't really know.
So they bullshitted. Yeah, like most college stoners.
I still didn't know what happened. And then a few years after that, at some point, I read a film book on 2001. And and then I read 2010, I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Good book.
Mm-hmm.
And that explains what happened to Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the movie made sense to me. And I was like, oh, that's what happened to Dave. I didn't miss the movie. I just didn't understand what the hell was happening.
Mm.
And that's my story on 2001.
Well, that is certainly a storied retelling of your experience there. And it certainly is one of those movies that, one, I would love to see on the big screen. Like, if I could see this on the big screen, that's clearly the way you're supposed to see it. I mean, now everybody's got a 55-inch, so you could get by. And you got, sound bar or, whatever system you've got. Everybody's got something in their house now. But to see it on the screen, I would love to do that.
I would do an IMAX for that, definitely.
Yeah. Like my days of and now that it's legal, my days of approaching a dispensary or anything like that are past. That's not my thing. But I could certainly see why, you would, an edible or something like that, and then just sit down and just fucking watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It's kind of the only way to see that movie is in a theater. That's it's exactly what it's made for. Yeah. Because if you have the ability to zoom through that movie, you'll probably hit the zoom button at least once.
So
or you'll wind it back trying to figure out what happened.
I did both of those things, and we'll get to that. John, lay it on us.
I really think I'm probably the one that saw it in the movie theater.
Whoa! All right.
I was a kid when I first saw it on CBS Sunday nights at the movies. I was in first grade, so I was about 6, 7 years old when I walked into the television room, and there was my father in his chair, and he loved this movie. And as he's watching it, it's the scene where the primates touch
the
monolith. And I'm just watching it, and it's amazing because I'm like, in my head, I'm going, this is an adult movie. A few years ago at a drive-in, I woke up, my parents thought I was sleeping, and I was actually watching, at the age of 5, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
On a drive, we were in a drive-in.
Sure.
And I remember my mother going, now, you see this scene, and it was Robert Redford jumping on the train. She's telling me not to do that because we live by a train station. And I guess she thought I was the one who would do that. But I remember watching the movie, and I'm going, this is an adult movie, and my dad's not kicking me out. I remember that distinctly, too.
Yeah.
And when it was over, it was after they touched the monolith, and he picked up the bone, and that's when they went to the commercial break. And I remember looking at my dad going, wow. And my dad went, yeah. And I have had this movie. This movie is kind of like, to me, is an uncle that visits my life several times throughout it. I mean, I was in high school, and this was one of the midnight movies they were showing.
Sure.
If we didn't go see Rocky Horror, we went and saw 2001 or Quadrophenia, depending on what we were in the mood for. And I remember the one, because there was an intermission break for the movie.
Yeah.
And all of my friends got up to sneak out into the parking lot and get high. Contrary to popular belief, and nobody ever believes me, getting high and getting stoned has never been my motif.
Yeah, I can verify that. Yeah, I can verify that. Yeah.
And I've had people go, "You're lying," and I'm like, "No,
that wasn't."
But I remember each time I saw it, I got a different feeling. And I'm sorry, Bill. 3,000.5. Never once did I say, "Hurry up," when the movie came on.
Okay.
I agreed with Kubrick when he said this wasn't a movie to be seen; it was a movie to be felt.
Sure.
And I always remember that. And I'm sorry. What did you say, Tony? Oh, I saw I saw the movie. I just didn't know what I saw. That should be on a T-shirt with the picture of Hal, like on it, because I really think that is the best way to describe it. To me, this is one of the movies I'm glad we're talking about, and I really don't want to talk about it because I'm very emotional about it.
I don't think we're going to get to any resolutions about it because I think people have their own interpretations. But I think you can't deny. I'll give you my interpretation. I saw 2010 before I saw 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2010 came out like in I didn't see it in the theater. I saw the VHS, and I just never got around to seeing 2001. I saw this very late. Maybe 20 years ago or something, 25 years ago or something like that. Like, wasn't avoiding it, just never got around to it. And the first time I saw it, it really freaked me out. There's a lot of silence. There's a lot of stillness. There are a lot of long shots, like Bill was talking about. But what also gets me is the lack of emotion. Like nobody really emotes. Everybody, like no matter how screwed up things get, how fucked up things get, nobody emotes. Everything is very, flat, and everybody's delivery is just very, mechanical. And so that added a bit of a creepy aspect to it, like where the guy is headed to the moon and he's at the space station and they're asking him questions and he just like he's kind of I really can't discuss that.
Yeah.
And you can see he's lying, but like it becomes very sinister. So I think this is a great film. It is about 2.5 hours. I think it's 2 hours and 28 minutes. There were a couple of things I rewinded, especially towards the end when he moves into Jupiter, because I'm like, what am I looking at here? I haven't seen this probably in 20 years. It's not a movie I watch every year. I'm glad to have it, and it's great to have it on Blu-ray because visually it is something to watch. I love the Dawn of Man sequence. I think it's a really good movie. And towards the end, it did start to stretch a little bit. When like he's in the room and he's looking at his older self, this, that, or the other. But watching it, I mean, you could see the inspiration that it had for other sci-fi movies.
Oh God, yeah.
I think Lucas said that it was a huge influence for him for Star Wars. You could see the real parallels with Ridley Scott and Alien, especially with like between the mother and Hal comparisons. All the First Contact stuff. You got Arrival and then Contact and like Interstellar and like Close Encounters. Made for what was this made for? $10 million.
About that.
Yeah. That's a little less than $100 million today. 6.5 million spent on 205 special effect shots over 18 months. Far more detailed than contemporaries. Sets were enormous and hyper detailed. I think it's a great film. I don't know that it's a film you need to see, all the time. It's not an action film. I'm not even sure what type of film it is. It's just some weird sci-fi film that just, I don't know if it's about evolution, like the monoliths. You're catching different points in human evolution. And then when David touches the monolith in the bed, he becomes the baby. So he's rebirthed into some sort of regeneration. But there were a couple of scenes that freaked me out. Like when they went down in the moon and saw the that huge monolith just, sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So
it starts almost incomprehensible with no words, with the monkeys.
Yeah.
And then it moves into our era, and then the movie itself becomes comprehensible, very easy to understand, because you've got people we can identify with and hear talk.
Yeah.
But then it goes beyond that into a realm where again it becomes incomprehensible to us.
Right.
So it's that weird sort of dichotomy of, incomprehensible, comprehensible, and then back to incomprehensible and beyond.
I got to say, in its favor, you don't find filmmakers today who have the guts to make that kind of a movie where everything isn't explained.
Hell yeah.
I mean, we're talking about almost 60 years, and people still don't really understand what this movie is about, and it's considered one of the greatest of all time. You couldn't, I don't, nobody, like, the last time somebody tried to do something like that, I'm thinking like of Tenet, like when Nolan tried to do Tenet, and everybody bagged on him for it.
Well, Terrence Malick, Tree of Life is a lot like that.
Tree of Life, yeah, it's the same.
It's all visual storytelling, and it's almost incomprehensible unless you.
When Arthur C. Clarke was asked about the movie, he turned around and said, "If anybody walks out of this movie saying they got it, they didn't watch the movie."
Smart.
Because he said, that's the one thing I love for. I didn't want to say I studied this for this podcast, but I studied it over the years. When you heard, people talking about, they were saying it was never what you see, it's what you feel. It's how you feel. It's kind of like the way Kubrick turned around and said he was fearful that they were going to get to the moon before he got this movie out and find aliens on it, and he was going to make his movie obsolete.
Yeah.
Type deal. He really, he was pushing. He also said, Mike, he was pushing it to be viewed like a documentary. That's why the cameras were back at a distance. Instead of doing it like a drama, or an action movie, it's a documentary. Sit and watch.
Yeah, it's almost like a precursor to found footage, and maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but there's something like you're seeing something like maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Hold on a second, we got some comments here. We got Slasher Fred. What's happening, man?
Hey, Fred.
I think what makes this movie a classic is that it is very hard to tell what the plot is. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Is it a movie about world history or is it a movie about the future? The movie has some very great special effects. One of the most iconic scenes is when Dave is jogging through the space station and the camera moves about and it looks like he's on this hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Exactly, because the theme is very classic. In Stanley Kubrick's movie Killer's Kiss, there is a scene that has the same where the camera flying through the stars that was later used in this movie. Let's see, the sound where even the huge pillars appear as such. The use of sound in this. Because there's a very minimalist script.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of if it's not monologues or like Dave speaking, like you can go for long periods of time without anybody talking or any kind of conversation.
It's very pragmatic. Like a lot of films in the late 60s into the 70s, it's a pragmatic film. People only speak when they have to.
Yeah.
Right.
And like the great scene that I love in this movie is when Hal reads Dave's lips. And I forget the other guy's name. That's a great visual cue. Yeah. Like you just see it and go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You said a really good thing, Mike, about how everyone is sort of plain in this movie. They don't stand out. I think that was very intentional. I forget which astronaut actually said it, but one of the Apollo missions, one of the astronauts came back and a reporter asked him, what was it like? What did you experience? And the guy said, really honestly, it's like they should have sent an artist, a playwright, and a priest. Because I'm a scientist. I don't know what I just experienced. All I know is the science. And all the actors are portraying that. All of the people involved in this space travel are very, very stoic, and they're not emoting very much. They're not going to. They're concerned about the science.
And it was like their next, like for us, would be the next big adventure going out into space. But to them, it's commonplace, like getting in your car and driving down the parkway.
Yep.
They do it all the time.
It's like the way they portray jet fighter pilots. It's not Will Smith yelling.
Yeah.
Those jet fighter pilots are concentrating and they say very little. And,
when they got to the moon base, and there was a Howard Johnson.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I love that, but it also meant it was common. It became normalized in our lives.
Yep.
That's why I think the ending was so amazing, because all of a sudden you went from this energy-inducing, threat-inducing world to what the hell did I just watch?
I think that reminds me of a scene, and one of my favorite scenes from the beginning. Well, not from the whole film, really, of a Close Encounters, where they're in the air traffic controller booth.
Yeah.
And the pilot's talking about, they're seeing something, and then like there's just one, holy crap, like what was that? But it's so clinical. Like the conversation is so clinical, and yet somehow effectively communicates that something, no, we don't want to report that. I wouldn't know what to say.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I never thought of it that way, that they would just experience everything through this sort of clinical lens.
Yeah.
And not emote anything. But it works. And I mean, to me, I think someone talked about the lip reading from Hal. One of the things that still freaked me out a little bit was just the light from Hal. That red light. It said so much without just doing a damn thing. You're just looking at this light, and then somehow it's like this creepy fucking AI is just staring at you, and it's plotting. Like it's just plotting against you the entire time. And I'm like, holy shit, that's effective, man. I mean, just a red light and just have it mean so much.
And that's something that's been used and attributed. I mean, Terminator, when Schwarzenegger takes out the eye, and Christ, even Knight Rider.
And that's
the red thing for the car was right there. The computer talking with no emotion.
And the HAL aesthetic is very much a scientist aesthetic, right? If it had been designed by, someone, if you had redone this movie in the modern day, HAL would have had a face at the very least, or it would have had lips, moving like that, or digital lips, like, it would have been humanized more.
That reminds me of Michael Fassbender in Prometheus. Like he's the AI, and he looks like the artificial person, like Ian Holm in Alien.
Right.
He's the AI, but it's humanized. But here, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I think just that light is just so devious. And I love Ian Holm and Alien. When we get to Ridley Scott, that'll definitely be one of the movies we cover. I've wanted to find a good way to get to it for a long time. But just the one use of that light, man, it really is something. That HAL is just an evil son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we get to 2010, they give like a clinical explanation as to why Hal did what he did, or something like that. But I can't remember what it was.
That's actually
it's his alternate programming. Like he's programmed to do one thing that goes against his initial programming, and it caused a logic failure.
Okay.
He couldn't lie. He couldn't be duplicitous. He had to complete both of these things, and it just it burned out his logic.
Yeah, he was like, he had to keep the secret, but the closer they got to it, the humans would have found the secret, and that went against his protocol.
Here's the ironic thing, though, like as compared to sci-fi today. You talk about this movie as it's a movie that you have to really feel, and yet you're talking about Hal and how unfeeling he is, and it's that stark contrast between Hal and the humans that gives you those feelings, right?
Actually, I disagree with that, Tony. I think Hal's the only one that is feeling in those scenes. No, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
Well, he's feeling, but he's a computer, so he can't feel.
Well, exactly, but he's showing emotion, as I should say. He's reading the lips that he's going to be killed, so he defends himself. When Dave is deprogramming him, he's saying, "I'm afraid."
Right.
That he's showing, out of all the people that are there, all the beings that are there, he's the only one who's showing emotion.
He's
a practical thing thereof. And I would love to say I was the only one saying that, but there's a couple people who said, it's not surprising that he would be that way.
I got to tell you, John, when he was saying that, all I kept thinking was, Dave, you keep fucking unscrewing those fucking hex bolts.
Exactly.
Keep fucking unscrewing those.
I'm not saying
get this evil son of a bitch out of it. No, we're just talking.
Yeah, but it's like shit. He's the person who's begging for his life.
All right, hold on.
When we get there, before we miss it, the scene that really sets the stage for the second part of the movie you know, when the ape man throws the bone up in the air and it's spinning, and all of a sudden we're at this place where we have all this commonplace space technology. The whole thing was, it touched the monolith, it learned how to use tools, and that was to get food because they were all starving to death and they couldn't drink. You know, they're fighting over this water hole. The first scene when we get to the space shuttle is Dr. what is his name? Floyd. He's eating just so simply. It's just right there. It looks it's in the same shape as the ship and the bone, and he's just calmly eating while this calm music plays, and that's shows how far we had come from fighting for survival to everything's taken care of. You're okay. And then they do the hamster wheel, and that's the symbol of, you know, we're stuck in this place. Even though this has got this amazing technology, we're stuck in this place and we're not moving forward, and we need to encounter something to get us to the next level.
That's interesting because the monolith does seem to appear to take them to that next space every time.
Right.
You know, the thing that happens on the moon propels the ship to Jupiter. That's what causes that to, okay, you know, something's happening. It's sending a signal to Jupiter. Excuse me, we need to get to Jupiter to see what it is. And again, I think one of the scariest things is the monolith. It's just this black tablet. And yet, I mean, you know, I'm a little old to be scared now, but I remember the first time I'm like, what the hell is that thing? And again, just this visual of this black stone or mysterious tablet you don't know is made, you don't know what it's made of, scared the living daylights out of me with the creepy operatic music. You know, that seems to take the place of dialogue and exchange between the characters. It's a masterclass in, like, you know, crafting a film. It's fantastic. I can't remember the last time I've seen anything as good. I mean, you know, we've covered Arrival, we've covered Close Encounters, we talk about Alien all the time. I love Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but this hasn't
come close.
Yeah,
and you contrast that kind of science fiction. Again, I see it as, it's not emotionless, but it evokes emotion, but the actual things that happen in it aren't driven necessarily by emotion. And then you look at something like today, like Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which is just so completely overwrought with relationships and emotion, and there's no science to it whatsoever. It's just an amazing contrast to see not how far we've come, but how far we've fallen in this area. Like we were so going somewhere with 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now it's 2026, and look at where we are in science fiction. It's like
we do have a lot of unserious science fiction out there. Like when I was growing up, science fiction movies, regardless of how bad the sets were and how bad the effects were, they always had a serious thing to say, whether it was Fahrenheit 451 or Slaughterhouse 5 or whatever the serious science fiction movies were, and we've kind of lost that.
My father used to turn around and say, because some of the books he read were science fiction and some were science fantasy, and I remember asking him when I was about 12, what's the difference? And he said basically science fantasy is Star Wars, science fiction's 2001. The point about it is taking what we know and taking it that far. The scariest thing about the monolith, Mike, I felt, was that you couldn't see a reflection in it or no light. So it looked like a hole or a door, or, you know. This
is not an action movie.
I know. It's
and
not.
that separates this from so many science fiction movies that you see today.
Oh yeah.
You know, like when you see a science fiction movie, you know you're going to see an action film.
Pretty much, yeah.
They're going to be fighting the aliens. They're going to be, whatever it is. There's going to be some action, and there's going to be a big closing sequence, and you're going to understand everything. And they're going to explain it to you. Yeah, you're going to see Matt Damon, or somebody.
Or you're going to have a robot with machine guns on top of a comet, like in Armageddon.
Oh, Steve Buscemi, please. What a fucking menace to science fiction he became in that movie. But Slasher Fred, the original Solaris is very much like a version of this movie. Yeah, that's another great film.
I agree.
We may get to that at some point. Hold on a second. Hold on.
They remade that movie too.
With George Clooney. Hold on. We got Polar Nights here, and he's been here before. Thank you for joining us. He said this program. It shows every stage of beard growth.
I love it.
Here we go.
And I was this close to shaving.
Me all the way to John. Yeah, so I'm glad you didn't, John. Otherwise, this guy, he would stop watching the show. Thanks for stopping in, brother. We appreciate it. So, I mean, geez, it's also got some terrible things. Like, when the other astronaut dies, like, I just thought, oh, my, like, that's got to be, like, the worst possible way to die.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, spinning the pot around.
And it's all so quiet.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, now there would be a score, or some sort of sad, emotional score to, like, draw you in and bring your emotions, telling you what to feel. There's none of that. It's just dead silence. And this body just spinning in space. And you see him, like, at first trying to frantically reconnect his cable, and you're just like, holy shit.
Did you see
that's awful.
Yeah.
Did you see who was a consultant on this movie? Because they were originally discussing about bringing aliens in instead of the monolith having an alien.
Oh,
in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Carl Sagan was a consultant. And Sagan turned around and said, remember, there's no sound in space. And Kubrick ran with that. I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't have it.
It's a good idea.
Was to set it up. What would it be really like in space? I mean, that scene when the pod turns around and its hand and its claws or whatever you want to call it almost looks like a human hand ready to push him off. That terrified me. In that scene. To this day, I still get nervous with it.
Hold on, hold on. We're looking at some of the effects techniques, and they said he didn't use any computers. Starfields used eye drops and water, filmed slowly. Nebula was from paint and thinner. The front rear projection created huge backdrops, the Africa scenes on a 40 by 90 foot screen. The slit scan techniques produced a psychedelic Stargate sequence.
Yeah.
Kubrick insisted effects be printed directly to the original negative for sharpness. No duplicates allowed.
Yep.
He took dozens or hundreds of takes. He used 10,000 Polaroids for lighting checks and built a quote-unquote operations room with charts to track thousands of details, breathing sounds in space. Yeah, the use of breath in this movie.
That's all you would hear, really.
Well, they're reportedly done by Kubrick himself. After principal photography between 65 and 67, he spent 2 more years on effects. Wow. A 10-minute black and white intro with real scientists discussing alien life was cut after MGM previews, deleted scenes, included more lunar base life and a painting class with Kubrick's daughters. Fearing props reuse, Kubrick ordered most sets, models, and unused footage destroyed. Most of it was lost forever. Premieres had divided audiences. Some people walked out, not to go to the bathroom, Tony, but but it became a cultural phenomenon, influencing sci-fi forever. NASA called it eerily prescient, flat screens and video calls. Conspiracy theorists later claimed Kubrick faked the Apollo landings using 2001 techniques.
Yeah, and there were so many people who tried to copy him, and even in recent cinema, there was there's a scene in Gravity, one of the worst sci-fi movies ever made, where Clooney goes off and dies in space.
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to be with one woman.
Yeah. Well, he's talking the entire time. Like it's not like he's talking in space. He's talking on the radio, but it's like it's like the same scene if you had a bunch of dialogue jammed in that nobody cared about.
Yep.
They said there was one mistake Kubrick made sort of towards the beginning of the movie where they did an overview of what Earth would look like. Because they didn't have an actual shot of what Earth looked like from space. So if you look at it, it's kind of like cloudy. You don't see the landmarks or continents or whatever. And they asked Kubrick at the 10th anniversary, they said, we can put something in there. And he said, don't you touch it.
Yeah.
He wanted to keep it that vision or on that purpose.
He's not.
He was really personal to this movie. I mean, if you read half of the stuff that he was saying and what he wanted done and have done to make this movie work, like the idea of the bone going in the air, he broke a broom handle and flipped it, and he saw it and went, wait. He really, really, to me, it's cliche to say it's one of his greatest works, but it's one of his greatest works.
It is.
I mean, it really is.
What were we getting in sci-fi before? I mean, we had the, we had the nuclear kinds of things with the giant insects. We had maybe The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original. I guess you could call the thing from outer space that, eventually became Carpenter's remake. I guess that was sort of a sci-fi film.
A lot of it on B-movie Saturdays, like The Blob and stuff. But you also had the same year Planet of the Apes came out.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, there was a story that I love this. There was a story that the guys from Planet of the Apes went to Kubrick and asked how he did the primates. Kubrick gave him the finger and told him to get the fuck out of his office. Don't do it yourself. I love that. I was like, I would love it if that was true.
68 was the year I was born, man. Those aren't two bad movies to have dropped during your birth year,
there you go.
With the kind of fans that we are. So
there was a soundtrack that was written for the movie.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. When I first heard the sound from 2001: A Space Odyssey, I started thinking about Ric Flair. Ric Flair should be in this fucking movie. I'm like, they're fucked up the movie. Flair should be out there with a sequin robe right now, out there twirling around,
stepping out of the monolith.
Woo! He should be wooing right now. I'm like, holy shit.
When they touched the monolith, he came out. Woo!
Yeah, it's exactly right. Ric Flair, that's the answer to everything.
But they the guy who did Spartacus, who did the music for Spartacus, actually wrote a soundtrack and then they cut it. And Kubrick never told him. I'm sorry. He paid him, but he said, he never told him. He went with a whole different sound.
Sometimes it's okay just to let people make up their own minds. You don't have to tell me to be sad. You don't have to tell me to be happy. You don't have to tell me to be scared. Just let me figure it out for myself.
Got to be like Bob Dylan. I'm not going to tell you what my song's about. You figure it out.
It means to turn it the channel. Yeah, all right, there you go.
But with science fiction, it was beyond the B movies on Saturdays. You had Fahrenheit 451. You had Slaughterhouse-5. You had some serious science fiction that was out there. Stuff that Twilight Zone had done.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Was Westworld out then? What year was Westworld?
72, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was later.
With Yul Brynner, right? Yeah.
Technically, Star Trek, the original series came out before this movie came out.
Yeah,
Kubrick was making it.
Yeah, sure.
But if you look at some of the original years, like the first year before Kirk started getting his shirt ripped every other episode, he was, they questioned some of those. Things that were considered make you think moments type deal. Kubrick did it very well with this movie.
Hold on a second. Before his death, Kubrick was originally supposed to direct Steven Spielberg's AI.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
I never saw it. That was the one with Haley Joel Osment, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's brutal. It's
a
brutal movie.
That was the one with Ministry. Ministry does the soundtrack for that, doesn't it? Al Jorgensen or something like that. Like, what the fuck is Al
When
Jorgensen
Stanley
doing?
Kubrick died, Tom Cruise said he was going to direct it, and Steven Spielberg said, "I got this." You know, I mean, seriously, Tom Cruise said he wanted to direct it because they just did Eyes Wide Shut.
Spielberg has another movie coming out this summer. I just saw it when I went to go see
Yeah, so did I.
this weekend. And it looks interesting with Emily Blunt. Yeah, you brought that up, Emily Blunt. All right. All right. Is there anything about this film that we have not discussed that anybody here would like to mention? Point, scene, commentary? Anybody?
Nah, man.
All right.
We should give a round of applause to the camera work. Because, like we said, it wasn't, we always blow it off that it wasn't like CGI. Those camera angles they were making up, man, that's Orson Welles. You know,
there's not a lot. There are really no directors like Kubrick today. When you really look at the body of
maybe
work,
Nolan. You know, maybe.
I don't think so, but you're looking at Spartacus. You're looking at The Shining. You're looking at Paths of Glory. You're looking at this. You're looking at Doctor Strangelove. Yep. You're looking at Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, it's just it goes the scale, the spectrum.
Yeah,
the range.
The money holders are so risk averse now. I don't think the people giving him $10 million in 1966 really knew what was going to happen.
Right.
They probably wouldn't have if they had.
Yeah.
That's about, and I checked what that would be in today's money. That was about $97 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of buck.
It's always been that way, I think. It's hard to get money out of investors for movies because there's such a huge risk, and no one knows what a movie's going to be until it's made, really.
Right.
There's so many guys out there who think they're Stanley Kubrick pushing projects.
Right.
And they're terrible. They're just, they're just egomaniacs that have a good push. I mean,
Ryan Johnson.
It's just a weird business. So many of these guys you don't hear about who crash and fail and in spectacular ways and waste a ton of money.
Actually, in a Kubrick biography, when they were talking about this movie, when the movie first came out, it wasn't doing well, and Kubrick begged the studios to leave it out, don't pull it yet. And basically, he went to colleges and started talking to college students, and they went, and eventually started making money. Because college students would say, "Oh, this sounds interesting," and went to go see it, spent money on it.
Yeah, it's very hard nowadays to get a movie to last in theaters longer than 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's right.
2 weeks. That's it. That's it. That's your window. Boom. $100 million or 2 weeks. Yeah, unless you're Spielberg or Nolan or somebody like that.
But then, just like with rentals, platform sales or platform minutes are being rated too. So there are some movies that they don't do well in theaters because there's no reason to go see them in theaters. Theaters are just such disasters right now. It's such a terrible experience to go to the theater right now. It's more expensive now. You can actually watch it as long as you have another person in the room. You're going to save money by watching at home.
I've said it once, and I disagree with you guys. I've said it 100 times. I spend $20 a month for my Regal app. I've been to like 4 movies already this year. I pay 53 cents every time I want to go see a movie. I have a great time every time I go. I think people get on these bandwagons that the films suck. I probably caught more than 30 movies last year, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2. I'm like, that sucked. It's good almost every time. Now, I'm not going out there spending $15, $20 every ticket. I spend my $20 a month. But
yeah, these movies are worth 50 cents. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
but didn't Regal just close in Washington Township?
The one in the Cross Keys, because they own the United Artists. That's like 4 miles down the UA. That's like 4 miles down the street. So they're competing against, and that's a completely modern multiplex, whereas that old one, I love that place, the Cross Keys. I went there many times because the horror movies would drop a week before my local Regal multiplex, so I got to see like Late Night with the Devil there and a bunch of other films there. And I knew the guys. I'm like, hey, you're here. I'm like, yeah, man, you guys get it a week early. Yeah, you couldn't pick your seat. It was one of those things where you walked in and you catch as catch can, like the old days. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, who tried to do something serious with sci-fi recently and kind of worked was the movie Nope. Did you see that one?
No,
No.
doesn't sound familiar.
Nope. With
Oh no! I thought you said note.
Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele.
I thought you said note.
Yeah, I thought you said
No,
Note
he-
too. It was. I remember seeing it. It was okay. It didn't really do that much for me. I was like, it was okay.
Yeah, but
I
Jordan
never saw it
Peele's
again.
still
Never wanted.
swinging.
Huh?
You know, he's still swinging to get those type of stories out. I mean,
Yeah, there are
You
people
know.
out there that they're doing their best.
you know, and I don't mind seeing his in a movie theater. I haven't seen one of his in a theater yet that I said,
I saw
why
Nope
waste
in the
my
movie
money?
theaters. I saw Nope in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the part in the stream where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5 up by halves. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather spend a weekend in the clink than watch this movie again, all the way to 5. No. Yeah, 0. Yeah, all the way to 5, which is this is the journey, this is the destination, this is why I watch films in the first place. BIL 3000.5, what would you give Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey?
7. No, it's a 5. It's a perfect movie. It literally is a perfect movie from beginning to end.
All right, a 5. Tony D, what do you got for us?
I give it a 4. I
4?
love it. Yeah, I love it, but I'm not in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. John K. Alvarez, truth be told, what do you got for us?
You have no idea how much I would love to abstain. I really don't want to rate this movie because
All right.
it would be above it. But if I had to, I agree with Bill. If I could give it a 7, I'd give it a 7, but I'll give it a 5.
All right. I'm torn myself somewhere between 4.5 and 5. And I think I'm going to go with 4.5.
Okay.
It is certainly cinema. But yeah, there's just something. And I also, there's one thing I forgot to bring up. I love that if you watch this because I have this on Blu-ray, I love that there's an intermission.
Mm-hmm.
I love that there's like a pause. You can go to the bathroom. Unlike Tony, I didn't come back and what the hell happened, that kind of thing. But I'm going to go with a 4.5. It's not quite at the high, Then when I say 5, I'm thinking of The Exorcist. I'm thinking of Lawrence of Arabia. Whatever else like that. This is, I'd say 4. If I could give it like a 4.9, it would be something like that. But I can't go to 5, so I'm going to say 4.5. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, Bill, plug something.
Friday, March 20th, at the 5 Dimes Brewery in Red Bank, New Jersey, my band Ye Old Bottom Turns will be playing from 7 to 10. That is Friday, March 20th. We'll be playing all the surf instrumentals and the rock instrumentals you can handle. So come see us. Ye Old Bottom Turns.
All right. I might try to make it up there. I don't know. I wouldn't mind taking a drive. That's going to end a particularly hellish period at work. If I'm still, if I do leave, I'll remain through that period to help them through that. But yeah, it'd be nice to come up for a beer or something like that and just sort myself out. Maybe some 10th Avenue burrito as well.
There you go.
Tony D, what do you got for us, man?
This Friday, I'll be at the Avalon Public Library at 2 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil.
Nice.
Always good news. Tony, for people that may not be in the know or they'll catch us in the replay and haven't seen you before, tell us about the Pineys. What is that?
The Pineys is my book series. It's about a family of hunters that hunt the kin of the Jersey Devil. I came out with book 19 in December. It should have come out in October, but the government shut down and I couldn't get a copyright until December. So it came out. It is out, book 19. Book 20 will be out sometime in March. and the Pineys all centers around South Jersey. It's all about the folklore, the history, and the local flavor. So everything local to South Jersey, I try to put into the Pineys book series. It's kind of like Ghostbusters with drunken hillbillies.
There you go.
That's how I ended up meeting Tony. He showed up at the Mays Landing Historical Society and put on his talk, and he had some of his comics there and some of his books, and we ended up swapping information. And now it's good to go to those sorts of things, and support your local people that are doing that kind of stuff. You never know who you may meet, and like here we are today, so it's cool.
It's a good time.
Yeah, man.
That's right.
John, what do you got for us? I got your thing if you say when.
Whenever you want to put it up, man. I can still read it off over here. Speaking about supporting local, SPRQ is a theater company in Somers Point, New Jersey, that once again, this February 21st and 22nd, they're doing a weekend of new works that are being done. These are playwrights from around the United States that submit, as well as playwrights from the South Jersey area that will also submit. We have 8 plays, 4 are from out-of-towners, 4 are from local playwrights. And what we do is that people like myself and other actors get on the stage and we read it and perform it. And we do it on Zoom as well as live. And we raise money for this theater company every year. We've been doing it for about close to, I got to think about it now, 8 years. We've been doing this off and on. Some of these plays are great. My all-time favorite one is right up the top, A Small Actor. Believe me, there's 5 performers that are in the show. We all wanted to do this because it's a giant monologue, and the director decided to split it up between us because it's basically the adage, there's no small parts, only small actors, and we all go, yeah, right. And we go down our resume of all these shit shows that we were in with the bit parts and stuff. Very funny, very hysterical. But the rest of it's all emotional and funny. And last year we did it, and we raised, I believe, about $12,000 for this theater company. We're trying to do it again this year. So if anybody's interested, as long as I'm on this, I'll be plugging it for the next week and a half.
Okay.
And all the info's there.
It's 112 Woodland Avenue in Somers Point. Admission is $20 at the door. 9 10-minute plays by local, regional, and national writers. And for more information, down there at the bottom, you can call 323-793-2153. And hold on, let me see if I can. I can't. SPRQ.
That's the
SPQR Stage Co. at AOL.com. So SPQR STAGECO at AOL.com. So,
if everybody in South Jersey, if you know where the Crab Trap is, we're right across the street.
All right. For this channel, I'm going to get my 53 cents worth this Friday. I'm going to see another movie. I'm going to see Luc Besson's Dracula, which I anticipate to be a huge disappointment because my understanding is that he has modeled it. I want to see a Dracula film, so it's a Dracula film and it's Luc Besson, and so I'm a fan of both. But my understanding is that he modeled it on Coppola's Dracula, so he's turned it into another romance with Dracula crying and being a sympathetic villain, which is everything Dracula is not. But I'm going to go anyway because it's 53 cents and what the hell. And that'll be one of the 2 movies I see throughout the year that I don't like, because unlike some people, I don't deliberately go to shit that like I know in advance I'm not going to like. That said, for this show, we will be back next week, and we are going into a fucking free-for-all with the Epstein files dropping. We are going into Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. And I'm pulling out invites from people that I haven't talked to in a while. I just talked to Frank from The Harsh Truth. He's going to be here. I'm talking to Tex. I'm talking to you guys. Everyone's welcome. My Twitter feed is blowing up about the comparisons between that movie and what Kubrick actually intended to reveal and what was edited out and what's now being released in the Epstein files. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be the second week. The Eyes Wide Shut is available on Tubi. so everybody can get a chance to watch it. I only saw it once, and it freaked me out, like a lot of Kubrick films do. So I'm looking forward to seeing it again through the particular lens of our age. Okay, my thanks to Bill, 3000.5. My thanks to Tony D, the local Piney and author of The Pineys, and my thanks to John K. Alvarez. Truth be told, we will see you all in the next video.